I've always been fascinated by the unknown, the thrill of stepping into a place where the rules of reality bend, where shadows seem to stretch a bit too far. It's addictive. So when my friend Ethan suggested exploring the old forest outside of town, I was all in. Stories about those woods had circulated for years, whispers of strange sightings and unsettling energies. But I was determined to see if there was any truth behind the rumors. We arrived at dusk, just as the last rays of sunlight slipped behind the tree line, leaving the woods cloaked in shadows. We set up our equipment, cameras, audio recorders, and a few motion sensors. As darkness settled in, an eerie silence enveloped us, the kind that seems to press in on you from all sides. With each passing minute, I couldn't shake the feeling that we weren't alone. It started subtly, a faint rustling in the underbrush, just beyond the beam of our flashlights. We brushed it off as the wind, but there was no breeze. The air was perfectly still. Ethan laughed it off, saying it was just animals, but I could see a nervous edge creeping into his eyes. Deep down, I knew he felt it too. The sense that we were being watched, stalked by something hidden in the darkness. As we moved deeper into the woods, the feeling intensified. It was as if eyes were following us from between the trees, observing our every move. I turned to scan the tree line with my flashlight, catching only glimpses of twisted branches and empty darkness. But I couldn't shake the feeling that something lurked just beyond the reach of the light. Then we heard it, a low, raspy whisper that seemed to drift on the air. At first, I thought it was Ethan playing a trick on me, but the look of fear in his eyes told me otherwise. We both froze, straining to hear the sound, and it came again, a disjointed murmur that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. "Did you hear that?" Ethan whispered, his voice barely more than a breath. I nodded, my heart pounding in my chest. We stood there, caught in the silence, when suddenly the whispering grew louder, like a chorus of voices echoing through the trees. My flashlight flickered, casting twisted shadows on the forest floor. And that's when I saw it, a shape, barely visible, moving between the trees. It was humanoid, but wrong. Its limbs too long, its movements too fluid, like a marionette with invisible strings. Before I could process what I was seeing, the figure darted closer, its form blending into the darkness as if it were part of the night itself. Ethan grabbed my arm, his grip trembling. "We need to go. Now!" We stumbled backward, our feet tripping over roots and rocks. But just as we turned to run, the figure appeared again, this time closer. It stood at the edge of a clearing, half hidden by shadows, its head tilted as if studying us. And then, with a sickening twist of its body, it began to move toward us. My legs felt like lead, but adrenaline pushed me forward. We ran, crashing through the undergrowth, with the whispers trailing behind us like a phantom echo. I could hear Ethan breathing hard beside me, but I didn't dare look back. I could feel it, whatever it was, right behind us, its presence pressing down like a weight on my chest. We burst through the edge of the forest, into the open field where our car was parked. I fumbled with the keys, and for a terrifying moment, I thought I dropped them. But then the engine roared to life, and we sped away, leaving the darkness and those whispers behind. Even now, back in the safety of my room, I can't stop thinking about what happened that night. The image of that figure, with its unnatural movements and those whispers, haunts me. I close my eyes and I swear I can still hear it. Soft, raspy voices just beyond the edge of my hearing, as if it's still watching, waiting for the moment when the light fades and the darkness creeps back in. I don't know what we encountered that night, but I can't forget the feeling of being watched, of being hunted. And as I sit here listening to the silence of my empty apartment, I can't shake the fear that one day those whispers will find me again.